Hi everyone, today Poncho Nicole, and this is a tutorial on how to do the buttonholes afterwards. So after you have knitted the poncho and you decided then where to put the buttonholes. This is a skill you have to practice on a swatch. I'll advise you that because you have to cut into the fabric. And in the beginning you think, oh gee, what I'm doing, but if you have practiced it one time, I know for sure you will be able to do that. Okay, I showed you the buttonholes in the other video. This is what I have done. I did it with red so you can see it, and here's one with the same color. Okay, so afterwards you have decided to put the buttonholes in a certain stitch. You have marked that, and then you are going to make the buttonhole. Okay, let's say we put it over here. I always advise do it 3 stitches from the edge, so it is a little bit, yeah, it has more tension. Okay, when you make exactly this buttonhole, this is a button around 2-3 centimeters, it will fit, as you can see. So let's get started. Always look what the stitch is doing. As you can see, this is one stitch, and when you pull it a little bit out and you grab a stitch, the ladder over here, you see it move a little bit. So you know these are connected. And this is where I want to have my button. So in between those stitches I'm going to cut a hole. So let's do it again. This is the stitch, this is the one next to it. So you just grab it, and here is where the horizontal one is. So that's the one we are going to cut. But first we are going to do some weaving, because when you pull a little bit too hard at your fabric, it will ladder. So just one leg of the stitch will do, and you do that at both sides of where you have marked the place where you want to have your stitch. Okay, just one leg of the V shape. So when something happens, you can always repair it. So here's where the stitch is. You're going to look. Okay, this is the one that is connected. I want it 1, 2, 3 out of the edge, so I'm going to cut this vertical or horizontal one. Just cut it. And then you are going to look just one by one, and you take the yarn out. Just nice and easy. Here's a stitch. You can either decide to do a new scrap yarn into it, or you do just the old one, because when you have grabbed this stitch it won't ladder. So you pull it through take out your scrap yarn and you have the stitch again. Here you see 2 stitches. You just pull out this one, not the whole stitch. Okay, you've got 2 stitches now. Just grab them, pull your needle through, take the scrap yarn and or a new piece of scrap yarn, that will do too. Okay, now you have them on a lifeline. But we have some weave-in ends here, and that is very important to weave that in, because otherwise when you don't weave that in that well, it will unravel. So this is one, and here is the other one. Here is the other one. This is where your marking point was, so you can pull it out. When you have worked with 2 pieces of yarn, you can give it a knot by just taking one of those and pull that out, stitch under where the pieces of yarn were, and then you make a knot. And the knot goes like this, just like when you're doing your shoes. This one is up and this one is under the knot, and the one under the knot stays under and the one up above the knot stays above. So this knot will do. When you have just one strand of yarn, you have to make a knot by already pull your needle through, because this one is too short, and you make a knot like this. Just pull gently, go behind, and when that doesn't work because it is too short, you just go through that loop, pull it a bit, pull your scrap yarn, weave-in ends again, and then pull it through the loop, and just pull until you think now the knot is okay, and then you weave in ends. You can better weave in ends now, because otherwise they will appear when you're busy working your buttonhole. So the video will take a little longer than necessary, but that isn't that bad. So, okay, then the next step. As you can see, I loosened 3 stitches, and you are going to look at the stitches that are next to it. So this is one that is next to the stitch that is on the scrap yarn. So this is the one we'll start with, and I advise you do it exactly the same as the one before, so you won't have you won't see any differences. Okay, just pull your crochet hook through the fabric. You just do this, so you have a weave-in end, and you just lay it over your hook and you pull it through like this. Then you are going to look again. This is the next, so I'm just taking the stitch which was on the scrap yarn, pull out the scrap yarn, go into the buttonhole. This is your weave-in ends, so take a closer look. You have to have your working yarn, make a loop, pull it through. You can do it like this, pull one time, pull twice. Then you are going to look again. Okay, this is the neighbor. I'm going to grab that one, make a single crochet. You can either do it like this, pull once, and just look that they have the same tension. They are as tight or as loose. This one is your first one. You can pull that weave in ends and they will be the same. Okay, let's go to the following one. Just look, here's a stitch, pull it through, pull it through. Okay, here we don't have any left, so we are going to the, just look, this is the next of the stitch that is next to that one, so we are going to grab this one. Just look if it don't twist. Go back into your buttonhole, and when you have done multiple of these, you will just have your good side, and you will notice that you'll do it like this, and you don't have to look anymore, as long as you have your working yarn. And you do it like this. Okay, here's the stitch beneath. That is that one, is the next, so we have to grab that one. Now we still have, okay, I'll grab this one too, and just count the amount of single crochets you have done, and you continue doing that with the other buttonholes. Okay, then you're finished. This was your weaving ends. This is, let's have a closer look. This is the weaving ends from the first stitch, and this is the working yarn. Just cut them as long, and then you pull your working yarn through. Now there's still a hole, but put it on your needle. Just look at your stitches, they're all having the same shape, so you are creating a new same shape. You just pull it through the stitch, and you go back into the last stitch, where you started from. Okay, and now you see it's closed. You check the button so you know the tension is okay. My button goes through, so I know this is the right tension for this kind of button. Okay, we'll make that knot. Again, this is the one under above, so it stays above, it stays under, and you pull it through, and this is a knot that is definitely not going to untie again, so just and weave in ends, and so you created a buttonhole afterwards. And it's also a neat way of doing buttonholes, and especially when you don't dare to knit them while you're making a poncho or other garment. Okay, this was an explanation on how to do buttonholes afterwards, after you have finished a knitting project. So I hope it might be of a bit help, and hope to see you in another poncho video. Bye bye.